It is late at night, and your screen is still glowing. You tell yourself you will check one more message, one more email, one more notification, but it never really ends. There is always something waiting, something pulling at your attention, something quietly demanding a piece of your energy. And somewhere in the middle of it all, someone says something that stays with you longer than it should. A careless comment, a passive-aggressive message, a tone that feels just slightly off. It lingers, it echoes, it follows you into the next hour, the next task, sometimes even into your sleep. You try to let it go, but it keeps returning. You replay the conversation in your mind, adjusting your response, imagining what you should have said, what you could have said, what you wish you had said, and suddenly, your peace is no longer yours. It has been handed over, quietly, almost invisibly, to someone else, someone who may not even be thinking about you anymore. This is how it happens, not in dramatic moments, but in small, ordinary ones. A look, a word, a delay in a reply, and before you realize it, your inner world is no longer calm. It is reactive. It is restless. It is occupied. The Stoics understood this long before smartphones and endless notifications. They lived in a world just as chaotic in its own way, filled with politics, conflict, ambition, and human ego. And yet, they asked a simple question that feels almost radical today. Why are we giving so much power to things we do not control? Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by pressure and expectation, wrote quietly to himself that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Epictetus, once a slave, taught that it is not what happens to you, but how you interpret it, that shapes your experience. Seneca warned that we often suffer more in imagination than in reality. These were not abstract ideas, they were survival tools, and today, they might be exactly what you need. The first principle is this: you are not disturbed by people, you are disturbed by your judgment of them. This can feel uncomfortable at first, because it seems to place the responsibility back on you. But look closely at your own experience. Two people can hear the same comment, and one shrugs it off while the other carries it for hours. The difference is not in the words themselves, it is in the meaning assigned to them. Imagine a colleague sends you a short, cold message, no greeting, no warmth, just a direct request. One part of you immediately reacts. They are being rude. They do not respect me. Why are they talking to me like this? And suddenly, your mood shifts, your body tightens, your thoughts spiral. But what if the message means something else? What if they are stressed, distracted, or simply unaware of how they sound? The event has not changed, but your interpretation has, and with it, your entire emotional response. The Stoics would say that the moment between the event and your reaction is where your freedom lives. It is small, it is subtle, but it is everything, because in that space, you can choose whether to accept the first story your mind tells you, or to question it. Not every thought deserves to be believed. Not every reaction deserves to be followed. The second principle is this: what other people say or do belongs to them, not to you. This sounds simple, but it is deeply freeing when you begin to live it. Most of what people say is a reflection of their own inner state, their stress, their insecurities, their habits, their past experiences. When someone is impatient, it often has little to do with you. When someone is critical, it often reveals more about their own fears than your actual worth. And yet, we take it personally. We absorb it. We carry it as if it were a verdict on who we are. Imagine you are scrolling through social media and you see a comment that stings. It questions your work, your choices, or your character. Your instinct is to defend, to explain, to prove something. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what part of this actually belongs to me? If there is truth in it, you can learn from it without letting it define you. If there is no truth in it, then it is simply noise, and noise does not need to be carried. Epictetus taught that if someone speaks ill of you, you should remember that they are speaking from what they believe to be true. That does not make it accurate. It only makes it theirs. You do not have to pick up everything that is thrown in your direction. You can let it fall. The third principle is this: your peace is your responsibility. This is not about control in the sense of forcing the world to behave a certain way. It is about choosing how you show up within it. The Stoics often spoke about the idea of an inner fortress, a place within you that remains steady, regardless of what is happening outside. Think of a storm. The wind is loud. The rain is heavy. Everything is moving. But deep beneath the surface, there is stillness. The Stoics believed that you could cultivate that same stillness within yourself, not by avoiding the storm, but by refusing to let it define your center. In a toxic workplace, this might mean doing your work with integrity, even when others do not. It might mean choosing not to engage in gossip, even when it is everywhere. It might mean setting quiet boundaries, not through confrontation, but through consistency. On social media, untouchable stems. It might mean recognizing when comparison is pulling you out of your own path. It might mean stepping back, not because you are weak, but because you are protecting your attention. In moments of conflict, it might mean responding with clarity instead of reacting with emotion, not suppressing how you feel, but choosing when and how to express it. Your peace is not something the world gives you, it is something you build. And like anything worth building, it requires practice. So, what does this look like in a real, practical way? Not in theory, but in the small moments of your day. The first habit is this: delay your reaction. When something triggers you, do not respond immediately. Not to the message, not to the comment, not even to your own thoughts. Give yourself a moment. Take a breath. Let the initial wave pass. This is not avoidance. It is control. Because most reactions, when left unchecked, are not responses. They are impulses. And impulses rarely lead you where you actually want to go. Even a few seconds of pause can change everything. It allows you to step out of the automatic and into the intentional. The second habit is this: reframe the story. When you notice yourself taking something personally, ask a different question. What else could this mean? Not in a forced, overly positive way, but in a realistic, grounded way. Maybe they are having a difficult day. Maybe they did not think it through. Maybe it has nothing to do with you at all. This does not excuse bad behavior, but it frees you from unnecessary suffering. Because when you stop assuming the worst, you stop feeding the reaction that drains you. The third habit is this: protect your attention. Your attention is one of your most valuable resources, and yet it is constantly being pulled in different directions. Every notification, every comment, every piece of content is competing for it. You do not have to give it away so easily. Set small boundaries. Decide when you will engage and when you will step back. Notice what consistently disturbs your peace and limit your exposure to it. This is not about disconnecting from the world. It is about engaging with it in a way that does not cost you your center. Over time, these small habits begin to change something deeper. You start to notice that things that once triggered you no longer have the same power. Comments that once stayed with you begin to pass more quickly. Situations that once felt overwhelming begin to feel manageable. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. And this is the quiet strength of Stoicism. It does not promise that people will be kinder, that life will be easier, or that challenges will disappear. What it offers instead is something far more reliable: the ability to remain steady, even when everything around you is not. There will always be noise. There will always be opinions, expectations, and moments that test your patience, but you do not have to carry all of it. You can choose what enters your mind. You can choose what stays. You can choose what you let go. And maybe that is the real power here, not in controlling others, but in no longer being controlled by them. So the next time someone gets under your skin, notice it, not with judgment, but with awareness. See the reaction as it begins. Feel it, but do not immediately follow it. Then gently remind yourself, this does not have to become my burden. And in that small, quiet decision, you take something back that was never meant to be given away in the first place. If this idea resonates with you, carry it with you for a while. Test it in your own life. Notice what changes, even in subtle ways. And when the world feels loud again, you can always return to this place, not outside, but within.